Good morning, America. In the last few years, all of us have suffered. Thousands of lives were lost, people have had complete change in their routine, and many Americans have felt the everlasting effects of war. I know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. World War II has put an enormous toll on all of us, and it is important to reflect on the last few years of what we've dealt with. Today we have two very special guests here for a short interview who are just like you. These two have dealt with the effects of war and today are sharing their stories. Bonnie and Daniel Jackson are accompanying us on this stage this afternoon. While Daniel was one of the many soldiers on the homestead fighting for us, his wife Bonnie was at home holding everything down. Let's get started, shall we?
Thank you so much for having us on the show today.
Yes, thank you so much. It's really such an honor to be on a show like this.
An honor to be on the show? It's an honor to be in your presence. It's men like you who should run the country. Men that actually go out and fight for us and our country rather than sitting and waiting to be drafted. Isn't that the case?
Oh yes, I didn't wait to get drafted. I felt that it was my duty as an American citizen who was able to fight to fulfill that duty and help my country.
Most definitely. A lot of men didn't join right away and didn't wait to get drafted. Why do you think that is?
I'm not exactly sure why. It's a coward thing to do, to sit and watch your country fall apart until it gets so bad that you have to help out. I mean, most of my friends joined me. We stayed together through our basic training and worked hard to get where we did.
I'm sure their help made it a lot easier, especially being away from your wife for so long.
Oh, most definitely. If you don't have someone's companionship out there, you'll go crazy, but it's bittersweet.
How so?
Well, don't get me wrong, it's really nice to have someone you're best friends with and you're fighting with, but what happens when something goes wrong? Suddenly your best friend is caught in a line of fire, or stepping on a landmine because he's the first one on the beach feeling like leading our men.
I can see that. My apologies, Daniel. I'm sure you're not oblivious to pain.
No, sadly. I don't want to get into detail, but I've lost a lot of people I care about over there on the battlefield. The only thing that keeps me sane is my wife, Bonnie, here. She's the love of my life and my best friend. She supported me going into the war even when we had children. She assured me that she could handle it, and I didn't doubt that she could.
That's what I call love. Bonnie, what was life like for you at home?
Well, that sentence is relatively false. I didn't spend much time at home. Women like me were put to work in factories to make supplies for the men out there.
Yes, that is true. I mean, who's going to do it if half the population was away?
Exactly. I was working in a factory that supplied ammunition for the soldiers.
I have to ask, though, Daniel mentioned that you guys had children. How did you take care of the children while you were at work?
I struggled a lot. Childcare was super hard to get because everyone was working. No one could watch the children because they were all working themselves. Luckily, my neighborhood had a group home where the children went on the block and could, if they were at school, and they were always being cared for.
That's really lucky for you guys. Most people didn't have that kind of luck.
Oh, I know. We were extremely lucky. While we struggled, we were luckier than some of our own family members. I'm just glad I didn't lose my husband out there.
Yeah, that's definitely another lucky strike. You have to feel for all the families out there. Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for coming onto our show and talking about your struggles. I feel if we talk about what people were actually dealing with, it opens a gate for positive change in our future. Standing with average, everyday people is a way to get America's feet wet here. That's it for today. Thank you so much, and good morning, America. Now the weather. You can't laugh before.
No, sadly. I don't want to get into detail, but I've lost a lot of people over there on the battlefield. No, it's okay. One more time.
Lady, what was life for you at the home?
Why do you keep saying that?
Peyton, we have 5 minutes to get this
I'm
recorded or we
sorry.
don't graduate.
I'm sorry.
We won't graduate, Peyton.